Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be talking about why you should be reading the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity by Saka Mikami. This video is going to cover my thoughts on chapters 1 to 139. I will have the content warnings I can find linked down below in the description along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get right into it. And the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity follows a second year in high school who attends Chidori High, which is a boys' school that takes in the boys with the lowest grades, and they are considered to be the dregs of society. And this is especially the case for the girls next door to them who attend Kikyo Girls High, which is a high school that wealthy and high-class families send their prestigious daughters to. And our main character has an appearance that is often considered to be scary to others, but he actually does have a really gentle heart. And while helping out at his family's patisserie, he meets a girl and they hit it off immediately, but things get much more complicated when he realizes that she is a student at Kikyo. Okay, so this was a series that I feel like I kind of had like a weird introduction to, considering the popularity that it already seems to have and is going to be getting when their anime adaptation comes out. But I found this through the K-Manga app, which is Kodansha's official manga reading app, specifically because one of the ways that you can get the points that you need to read certain chapters for free on K-Manga is by reading the first chapter of whatever series they designate to be the series that does this for the day. And yeah, they chose this one, and I was pretty skeptical going into it, as I often am with a lot of the series that they choose to do this with. I wasn't expecting much at all here, but by the end of the first chapter, it was pretty clear to me that I had just started reading one of my new favorite series, and 139 chapters later, it is very much that. And let's go ahead and start talking about our amazing, lovely group of characters, beginning with Tsumugi, who I think is very much in the running for like the best male love interest I have ever read in manga. He's very sweet, and he has like these bursts of confidence that lead to some of the best moments that this series has to offer. And these moments are very fun. They are extremely adorable and kind of just give me everything that I want from a romance series, while also adding to the comedy, but more on that later. Because I also do need to talk about his character growth, because we really get to know him and his past and how that led to like his appearance and what his appearance means to him. But they also do something with his character a ways into the series that I didn't think that I would like, because there is a popular romance anime that I don't think pulled off something similar to this, and I think this series did pull it off, and we really see him grow, become like mentally healthier, and just find and accept happiness, and I loved it a lot. We also, of course, have our main girl, Waguri. She is adorable. I love her love for cakes and for really all things. She is incredibly driven as well, and we have at this point dove into her past and see how that shaped her. And this is just something that I'm going to say for all of the characters right now, although it does certainly apply to her. She is very sweet and very kind, and yeah, loved reading her too. So they are our main couple, but we also do have a very lovely group of friends here, including Hoshina, who I was not expecting to like at all in the beginning, and I am so glad that they did not take the more villain route that I thought they would with her character. And she is somebody who is very much still growing, but the growth that we've seen from her so far has been really lovely, and I like her more and more every time that I see her, especially since we are diving into her romance plotline right now and we are seeing more and more of her. And she's had some really beautiful moments so far, especially when it comes to making friends and just learning to love herself. We also have Natsusawa, who, like Hoshina, comes across as really harsh at first, but is also really opened up. And he does still have a little bit more of a prickly personality, but he's also very caring, and the prickliness does add to the comedy. And he is somebody that I do feel like we see a lot of. We have really dived into him and his past, and I've really enjoyed his character so far. Like, he just feels like a really solid and good character. But speaking of the comedy that I mentioned a second ago, a lot of that energy goes right to Usami. He is incredibly energetic and kind of just plays the role of the lovable idiot in the story, and again, based off of the first few chapters, he is somebody that I had concerns about, because it was kind of giving Demon Slayer Zenitsu energy, but he is not that thankfully. And I'm sure we'll dive more into his character at some point in the story, and I look forward to the day. Next, we have Yorita. He is a good friend, and a lot of what we've gotten from him so far has been more career-based when it comes to choosing what he wants to do with his life, and we have gotten to know his family more through that. And I also feel like by exploring his character this way, it also put his character into more perspective too, because the series does do like a little bit of a delinquent thing, but also not really at the same time, and I feel like what they did with his character and the career kind of felt like they were trying to play off of those themes again and make them make more sense within the story, and I do feel like it mostly worked. And our final friend group member is Madoka. We did just get her, and she is also very high energy, is into romance, and I'm curious to see whether or not they're going to do anything more with her character in the future, but I'm happy that she's there. I also do need to shout out the parents here before moving on. Like, Waguri's parents are super sweet, but we also get a lot of Tsumugi's parents, and I love them both so much, especially the mom. And I feel like the series incorporates the parents into the story in a way that we don't often see, and they have some really beautiful and emotional and just amazing relationships with their children, and I just love them all so much. And let's go ahead and talk more about the relationships, starting with the friendships, because again, super wholesome, super adorable, super lovely. You can really feel how much love these characters have for one another, and like, they'll show it and they'll express it to each other as well. They have a lot of really fun moments together, their personalities add to a lot of the comedy, and there's a lot of group chemistry in general. They're also all really supportive of one another and honest with each other, and you can see that they're all helping each other grow. Like, these kids communicate with each other in a way that feels really special because they are so honest with their emotions and with what they're feeling, and they'll express it to each other. Like, they will talk about things, and again, everyone is super sweet and kind. Like, there are so many interactions in here that are extremely wholesome. But there also is conflict as well, and you see them apologize and work it out. Like, there is a lot of apologizing here. They are very thorough, and there are times where I'm like, wow, that is incredibly gracious, to the point where I'm like, is that too gracious? And sometimes even the characters are like, whoa, why are you the one apologizing here? So yeah, it has been interesting so far, but also very pleasant at the same time, and again, the conflict resolution has led to some really beautiful moments and very beautiful friendships overall. And now let's go ahead and talk about the romance, and needless to say, it is adorable and wholesome and so sweet, and just one of my favorite things that I have ever read. Like, this series is always pleasant to read, it's always really sweet and really cute, but every once in a while it will have a moment or just do something that is so adorable that it genuinely makes my day, and I would say a majority of those moments and scenes were between our main romance here. I love how much they support one another, and again, the way that they communicate with each other does feel really special to me, and what I said about Tsumugi's like bursts of confidence also does apply here, but they're honest with each other about their feelings in a way that feels really, really refreshing. They also do have the added layer of their schools not being on good terms with one another. Like, Waguri's school would not react well to any of the relationships that she has here with these boys, which does impact their relationship and the decisions that they make, specifically the decisions that Tsumugi makes as well. So yeah, it's a thing, it is there, and it's relevant, but I could also see it becoming more of a thing in the future. But it's also really sweet how Waguri has never shown any judgment towards him or his school, despite the environment that she's in with her school. We also do have another romance that is here and happening and very much in the spotlight at the time of filming this video. They are on the path of enemies to friends to lovers, and the dynamic between them and their personalities is very cute, and I like them a lot. And let's go ahead and talk more about the setting, because they do just really throw you into it at first, and I would say the vibe that I got regarding the two schools and the conflict there in the beginning is not really what they've stuck with. And again, there is a lot of really amazing conflict resolution and just personalities involved that got them to the place that they're at in this series, and that has established like this new wholesome, pure atmosphere. And this setting and this dynamic between their schools is something that is always there. It is always present in the friendships and the romances, and we do see how that influences the decisions that these characters make. It is very much there as an obstacle for them to navigate, and we also do see what it looks like when this image of the boys is shattered for some of the girls, and there are a variety of different reactions there, because again, they are considered to be the dregs of society, and that is just not the case for what I would say is a majority of the boys that we've seen from that school, even though it is also established that there are some rougher delinquents there as well, even if we don't really see them. But it's still an image that the teachers and a lot of the students at the girls' school do very much have, and have found out having these relationships could could really impact their future. So the guys want them to be careful and are really understanding and gracious about the whole thing. And we also do see how this setting and this dynamic impacts and ties into Tsumugi and his insecurities and lack of self-worth. But at the same time, I would like to see the series dive further into this setting and into this dynamic and maybe just deeper into how the guys feel about things. And I also do think I would love to see the girls stand up for them more as well, but I also think that diving fully into this setting and into this dynamic will be one of the last things that this series does, as one final big conflict resolution that will hopefully make everything come together a little bit more for me, because it mostly is, but there is still a lot of work that can be done here, or maybe they'll just keep going as is until they all graduate. But I think by doing that, they could be really missing out on a really great moment with that big final conflict resolution that I mentioned. And I also think by not doing it, they could open themselves up more to the argument that they've mishandled or even just wasted their setting, but I don't know. We'll see. And again, the setting is always there, it is always relevant, but as of right now, the story is also very much focused on romance, friendship, and studying and like choosing a career. The characters do spend a lot of time studying and helping each other study and supporting each other while they go about choosing their career path, and the story is heavily focused on these things. Like, you see the guys want to get better grades, and the girls do have a pressure on them from their school to maintain a certain standard that they've set, and everyone works really hard, but they also do make time for fun when they can, and this friend group has a lot of fun together, and they go to some really fun places and do a lot of really fun things. And there is this focus on taking your academics seriously, but also still enjoying your youth to the fullest that I really love. And they also do really dive into that career path stuff and all of the confusion and feeling lost and not feeling fully confident in your choices that come with that time in your high school career. And again, they support each other through it and the choices that they land on with their whole hearts, and it is so lovely. But you also do get to see the characters become individually confident with their choices, which is lovely from an individual character growth perspective. As for the art style, it is very pretty and very cute, which makes me very excited for their anime adaptation because Cloverworks is their studio. And I'm not sure I could have ever imagined a better studio for them. Like, it does feel very perfect and I am very happy. But the art style is also where I do feel like the delinquent thing that they sometimes touch on comes into play, because I feel like it mostly comes into play with the character designs, and I feel like the art style really balances like the delinquentness and the romance and the slice of life in a really cool way that has led to what I would consider some really iconic looking panels that have a really cool aesthetic to them. And there are also some really amazing looking cakes, because the story does have a really large focus on cakes, and it ties into the main romance, and it is extremely adorable, and I love it so much. And overall, this was a series that I feel like I always left in a better mood than I was before I picked it up that day, and it was also just something that I always look forward to. It made me feel so happy, and there were so many genuinely amazing moments that I am going to remember and also compare other series to for a long time. And when I first started this series, one of my favorite romance manga, You and I Are Polar Opposites, had just ended a couple of months ago, and I was really feeling their absence and just wondering how I was ever going to find a successor for them to read every month. And this is it, fully. Like, they have filled that gap for me and have also managed to carve out their own. And I have a lot of gratitude and a lot of love for this series overall. It is one that I feel like has a really exciting future ahead of it, and I am so excited to see it. I'll end up giving them their final rating once they're complete, but for now, they are at a 5 out of 5 stars, and I do think that they will probably stay that way. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!